morning to the Honorable Ministers of the Council, members of the media, radio listeners via St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9 FM, Telemcell TV Plus, respective radio stations island-wide, online, and TV 15 viewers. I'm Rolika Roach, and welcome to the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, December 21st, 2022. At this time, I would like to invite the Honorable Minister of Finance, Artwell Edion, to address you. Minister Edion, you have the floor.
Good morning, Rolika. Good morning to Prime Minister, my honorable colleagues. I'd like to convey today my gratitude to our wonderful team at the Ministry of Finance. During the season of joy and Thanksgiving, I wish you all a hearty and joyous holiday season. I express grateful thoughts, happy hearts, and our wishes to you, our employees, and to their families. And to the people of Swaliga, season greetings and happiness to you and your loved ones. May your home be filled with joy and laughter for this holiday season, and Merry Christmas in advance.
Thank you, Minister Edion, for your opening remark. At this time, I would like to invite the Honorable Minister of Public Housing, Spatial Planning, Environment, and Infrastructure, Egbert Duran, to address you. Minister Duran, you have the floor.
Good morning, Prime Minister, colleague ministers, members of the media, and a special good morning to the people of St. Martin. Today, I have a few brief updates for you. I recently returned from a working visit to the Netherlands and Curaçao. While in The Hague, I hosted a job mixer with the purpose of recruiting young professionals to fill some of the vacant posts we have within the Ministry of Romy. The attendees were professionals from St. Martin who currently reside in the Netherlands, some of whom have been in the Netherlands for more than 10 years. All persons expressed their interest in returning to St. Martin to contribute towards improving their home. The participants also expressed the challenges experienced over the years while seeking employment in St. Martin. Some persons received no responses to applications sent in the past and added the feeling that they were overqualified and feeling not welcome. The professionals that came out have backgrounds in different management areas, finance, and also technology sector, having attained bachelor's and also master's degrees, some of them. I look forward to quickly having any pending applications processed and hopefully welcoming a few of these persons within the ministry within the very near future. I also express my commitment to sort of reverse their train of thought in terms of feeling not welcome, because I believe that they are born and bred St. Martiners, and I do see the great added value to have them contribute in our future development. In regards to the water conference in Curaçao, I attended the Caribbean Water Conference preparatory meeting, which was convened by the Dutch Minister of Infrastructure and Water Management, Minister Mark Hebbers. This was designed to take place to get Caribbean perspective on issues surrounding water in preparation for the United Nations Water Conference that will be held in March of 2023. One of the greatest threats to our region is climate change. As a small island developing state, we are in the Caribbean, bear most of the negative impact, while not contributing much to it. I was happy to be able to speak and share our own challenges and also learn from other similar islands and how they deal with their water challenges. In efforts to help alleviate some of the holiday traffic, we have opened the ring road. The entrance is the first right after the Saltpickers roundabout, with one-way traffic flowing towards the traffic light, and then exit opposite the LB Scott Sports Auditorium. The speed limit, of course, is 30 kilometers, with no parking allowed on the ring road. This facilitates the traffic flowing directly out of Phillipsburg towards the intersection of Longwall Road, Bush Road, and ATLage Road. We urge all motorists to exercise caution while using the roadways. Next point, in terms of the former SG of Romy, we have received a judgment in appeal. The court has determined that they do consider that the former SG committed dereliction of duty, in other words, plichtverzuim, but given his years of service and an unconditional termination of the job was too severe. We do note that this case was handled before the judgment in Alegria case came out, so therefore a new decision is pending. And that will be all for now on that point until more information is made known. Lastly, As we enter into the period of celebration, I want us to reflect on blessings that we have been given throughout the year. Many times we get caught up in shopping and gifting that is popular at this time of the year. Some of us are so busy working through the season that we miss out on family time. We listen and look out for the best deals or the big fete or any wages that we may gain extra in this season. And we rejoice when we hear this type of good news. I want to remind all of us, and I include myself in this, that the Messiah came to bring us all real good news. This good news of a renewed hope for a better tomorrow. The parties will pass and the excitement will fade. The euphoria of the new gift of extra cash will diminish. The best thing we can get in this life and what we should seek after is a gift of eternal life through the Messiah. It needs no cash but requires our love and devotion. It is freely given, yet to receive it, we must give ourselves this new way of life. I would like to wish each and every one a very happy and Merry Christmas season and continued blessings to all. And also remember, the gift is in giving. Thank you, Rolika, and I look forward to any questions.
Thank you, Minister Duran, for your opening remarks. At this time, I would like to invite the Honorable Minister of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sport, Dr. Anders Rudolph Samuel, to address you. Minister Samuel, you have the floor.
Thank you, and good morning to you, Ms. Roach. Good morning to your colleagues, DECOM. Good morning to my colleagues and Prime Minister. Good morning to the members of the media and to the people of St. Martin. A blessed day to you. The Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sports wishes to inform the general public that the Elbeham Toezicht op de Leerplicht, which is the national decree regarding the supervision of compulsory education, was approved by the Council of Ministers. The reason for this national decree containing general measures lies in the important task of supervising compliance with compulsory education. The National Ordinance on Compulsory Education stipulates that a supervisory body must be designated for this purpose by a national decree containing general measures. The supervisory body is the central information point for all parties involved and has a very important task. The supervisory body will be responsible for the registration of justified and unjustified absences of compulsory education students from school and the prevention of absence from lessons. Through the national decree, the Division of Inspection of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sports is legally charged as the supervisory body with the responsibility of supervising compliance with the National Ordinance on Compulsory Education and the regulation issued pursuant thereto. Through this national decree, the Division of Inspection of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sports has the legal authority to act in cases of justified and unjustified absence of students. The inspectorate now also has the power to impose administrative fines to act in cases of frequent absenteeism with the involvement of child protection. The approved Elbeham Toezicht op de naleving van de leerplichtverordening will be sent to the governor for ratification and publication in the National Gazette. I want to thank everyone who have assisted in some way or the other and who have worked to bring this legislation to fruition. Secondly, after visiting many schools on the island when I became Minister of Education, I noticed that the level of education technology in the public schools needed improving. I made a promise to do something about that and decided to put a digital board in every public school classroom. Today, I am pleased to announce that that dream has finally come true. Yesterday, I was informed that the governor has put the final stamp of approval on this project. Not only will there be a digital board in every public school classroom in the coming year, but every teacher will also receive a brand new laptop computer so that they can adequately prepare these interactive lessons for the students. With this, I would like to say congratulations to public school, public education, and to the teachers who have waited so long for this project to be completed. And I thank everyone who, in one way or the other, have made this possible. I want to take time at this moment to say a blessed Merry Christmas to all the people of St. Martin, especially our education families, the teachers, staff, parents, students, and to wish everyone all the very best. I thank you.
Thank you, Minister Samuel, for your opening remarks. At this time, I would like to invite the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister of General Affairs, Severa Jacobs, to address you. Prime Minister Jacobs, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Rulaika. Good morning to you. Good morning to my colleagues, members of the press here present and those following. Good morning to the people of St. Martin. Indeed, as we near the end of the year, I'd like to start by wishing each and every one watching and listening a pleasant, safe, and happy Christmas season. And of course, we know that at this time of the year, the weather does get a bit colder and the air carries a warmth of the love and sharing that we are sharing with each other in this Christmas season. But I must admonish and remind you that there are several colds and viruses going around, so do exercise caution in your celebrations. I'd like to remind that the government administration building or offices will be closed on December 23rd, which is Friday, as well as December 30th. And I'd like to also announce that on January 2nd, the building will be closed, thereby giving the civil servants some much needed time off. So those that have made plans to do any business within the government offices on those days, do take note that on December 23rd and 30th, which are both the last Fridays of this week and next week, and on January 2nd, which is the Monday after New Year's Day, the government administration building will be closed. So as far as the dienst allow, as the functions allow, the civil servants will be off on those days. I'd also, on behalf of the Council of Ministers, like to thank all those civil servants who took time out to come to the Christmas appreciation celebration on Friday evening. It was indeed a joyous moment to stop, give thanks, and appreciate you as government. The entire council was happy that many were able to enjoy the moment. Personally, it warmed my heart to see so many smiling faces, relaxing and having a good time. Unfortunately, there were some reports of illness, and I am deeply sorry for the discomfort and pain of all those who went through that over the 24 to 48 hours thereafter. We are taking this complaint very seriously. As a result, I have asked CPS to reach out to the management of all the ministries to take, let's say, a check of all who complained, all who had negative impacts, so that we can do a complete investigation into the matter. So anyone who experienced nausea, vomiting, or diarrhea to contact and inform the management at CPS. While I've heard that many were only sick for 1 or 2 days, please do let us know if you are still ill, and the number to call is 914, or through email surveillance@stmartingov.org. CPS has also recommended that those affected hydrate as much as possible. This was passed on, of course, internally, but I'm saying it here for the record, and that if they had any symptoms that persisted past 2 days, to contact their doctor. I'm grateful to the St. Martin civil servants and all those who made the celebration possible. Of course, we will ensure that such an event can continue to happen regularly. That is what came out of that. They liked the idea that we were all together, and we will continue to work as a government, not only to ensure that we appreciate you at the end of the year, but to improve your working conditions throughout the year. As Minister of General Affairs, I am actively working with the organization to do just that. So I ask your indulgence as we work on these needed areas of improvement to ensure that your working conditions are also optimal. In that regard, I'd like to highlight that the concerns of the fire department and ambulance departments have been almost finalized. They are ready to be moving in today. I did a final walkthrough yesterday evening. I have been there last Saturday as well, and regularly checking in with the departments who are working diligently to bring the living and working conditions of our firefighters where it should be, where they can recognize that we are totally dependent on them for our safety, and we regard their safety and health also as our highest priority. I also took note that they did receive their much-awaited fire suits and that they all fit. And so with that being known, the second set will be ordered in that same manner. So we expect that within next year, they will have then a second suit, and that will then be a much better situation for them. I want to thank the very hardworking members of the facilities department for diligently following up on all of the demands that I have made on them to meet the needs of our fire department and ambulance department. So the rooms have been cleaned, painted, and the kitchen renovated and recreation area renovated, and continuous cleaning will take place to ensure that it remains that way. So congratulations to the officers as they return to their station house later today. Also, many would know, if they were following the news, that this week marked a historical event for the Kingdom of the Netherlands in seeing the Prime Minister of the Netherlands, Mr. Mark Rutte, apologizing on behalf of the government of the Netherlands for the role that the Netherlands played in the transatlantic slave trade as well as slavery within their former colonies, or still considered colonies, some of them. Representative was sent from the Netherlands, the government of the Netherlands, to Suriname, as well as to the former Netherlands Antilles, the islands of the former Netherlands Antilles, including St. Martin. And while the content of the speech did contain quite a few aspects that we would expect in a sincere apology, there was even the person that spoke, Minister Kuipers, even added with his own words as well, which gave an impression that the Dutch government is willing to recognize and hopefully act in a way that we as countries see necessary. And I would like to refer to December 7th, when I addressed this press briefing, that it all boils down to the question of what will be done to rectify what was taken from the bosoms of our people. How will our education be impacted? How will our culture be impacted, our heritage, our access to the history that belongs here? The knowledge that is in our archives is basically a name, an age, and at the time, whatever value was placed on the life of said person. So if anyone was not able to follow the speech which I gave in response, which was unfortunate that we didn't have the content of the speech prior in order to prepare for that. We did request of the Dutch government and mention on several occasions that while we will be in the room, we will listen, we will hear, and acknowledge what has been said. Any response will only take place after our reparations committee, our Slavery Atonement and Reparations Committee, has had the opportunity to properly go through all aspects, as well as for us as a country to determine what exactly we would want to see happen as a result. So a good first step. This has been acknowledged throughout the kingdom that this is the first step. And so we look forward to having a bigger say in the follow-up steps that should take place. So as I mentioned before, the advisory committee, whilst the framework for it has been established, I am now preparing for a general meeting of persons that would form part of this committee to discuss the manner in which we will move forward, prepare the action plan that we would expect such a committee to take up, and ensure that proper dialogue takes place on St. Martin moving forward, that this does not just remain a topic that is discussed between interest groups, but that is discussed on the ground in our schools, in our communities, and that a response, therefore, to the Dutch government entails what the St. Martin people think. Before closing, I'd like to the people of St. Martin, also mention that while I'm preparing a Christmas address, I'd like to take this time to encourage one and all to remember, as my colleague mentioned, I think we're all on the same page in our minds and thoughts this morning, that the reason for the season is Jesus Christ, and he is the greatest gift from Father God to us. And in remembering his birth and remembering the sacrifices that he has made for us, we can always look out with grace, with gratitude and compassion to our fellow man. So, especially during these challenging times when a financial gift may seem too big, think about those gifts that we don't have to pay for. The gifts of love, the gifts of caring, the gifts of kindness and compassion. Sometimes just spending time with someone could be the greatest gift they got this year. So I trust and pray that you will be safe, that you will be spending time with family, but also resting and recovering, because it has indeed been a very difficult year. And I wish all much strength, happiness, and love for this Christmas. Thank you, Relaika.
Thank you, Prime Minister Jacobs, for your opening remarks. If you've just joined us, you are watching the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, December 21st, 2022. Thank you for joining us. We now move on to the question and answer session, and I would like to invite Bibi Hart Shah of SMN News. You have the floor.
Thank you, Relaika. Good morning. Good morning, ministers. Season greetings. Prime Minister, taking note of the statements based on the from the apology, I'd like to know if there's planned town hall meetings to get feedback from the people of St. Martin, and what timeline do you have in place to give an apology, to give a response to the Dutch? Sorry.
Thank you for the question. Indeed, as I mentioned, the engagements have to be on all levels. So once the committee has been established, finalized, so first one meeting with the interested persons, those are being contacted as we speak. We do not feel that anyone can put a timeline on when we are ready to respond. So I do not have a timeline for that. What I do have is that we know what the committee should consist of, whom, then the types of persons. We've invited people who we know are interested. And once we've had that meeting and been able to determine who would fit best, who would be advisors to the group, then the different engagements will be planned, which would include, of course, not just town hall meetings, but panel discussions, going on the radio, going to the schools, etc., ensuring that the information is shared throughout the community. I am seeing more traction. I am already seeing different radio programs that are discussing the topic, and we do not want it to be skewed one way or the other. So we really feel that getting all involved and ensuring that the entire story is being discussed on our level is important, because there is an awareness needed, and I do recognize the need for awareness on both sides of the Atlantic, which the Dutch government has pledged some funding for. But as I mentioned, that is but the beginning, a drop in the bucket of what needs to happen. People need to understand what the Prime Minister was apologizing for, and also what we as St. Martin, as a result, can and will be doing moving forward.
Thank you, Prime Minister Jacobs, and thank you, Bibi, for the question. Members of the media, please note that Minister Samuel has left the press briefing as he's not feeling well. I would now like to invite Lyndon Brown of BCN TV. You have the floor.
Good morning to the people of St. Martin. Everybody should be happy now, seeing that everybody is celebrating. And the question that is burning right now, I want to stretch it out a little bit, the apology of the Dutch. It's there have been a crime against humanity, and especially black people. So holistically, it's not a St. Martin thing. It's not a Aruba thing. This have been a crime that been committed. And what's strange that the Aruba Prime Minister hurriedly apologize. What St. Martin Station and Aruba was a collaboration. In my calculation, it should be a collaboration, and not the weight is on St. Martin to decide what's the future. So, what the people want to know from you, Prime Minister, did you accept the apology? Seeing that Aruba run and accept the apology, because this was something that actually now the legacy still lives on.
Mr. Brown, I think I made it very clear that St. Martin did not accept nor reject the apology. We are taking our time to assess based on, there is a 10-point list that CARICOM has put out on repertory justice and what is expected. The first step is acknowledgement and apology, and thereafter reparations. As many have noted, while they did note that the acknowledgement and the apology was mentioned, there was no talk of reparations. There is also the CARICOM Reparations Committee, whom I've met a member of over the weekend and received a draft document that they had actually crafted in preparation for the Dutch apology. This Dutch apology has the attention of not just the Caribbean, Dutch Caribbean, it has the attention of the entire world. So the United Nations is looking, the international agencies around the world, the other countries, because it sets a precedent also for the other European countries who may have to follow suit. In days when we sit around the table, the United Nations General Assembly with countries and islands that were former colonies and saying we want to help with climate change and we want to do this and we want to do that, we must be very clear as to the role that the European countries have played, the European and American countries have played in the enslavement of people, while today we talk about human trafficking, and there is such a huge penalty for that. So at the end of the day, there is a lot that still needs to be done. This is but the first step, and we will be using, as the reparations, the Slavery Atonement and Reparations Committee and Government of St. Martin, using all resources available to us within the Caribbean. That is a forerunner in discussing reparations for slavery past. So it is the beginning. St. Martin will take its time to prepare its response, which will then indicate whether it has accepted or rejected.
Thank you, Prime Minister Jacobs. We now move on to the second round. Bibi, you have the floor.
Thank you, Rulaika. I had a question for the Minister of Education, but seemingly he had to go. And I'll now put the question to the Minister of Finance, hoping that he has some answers. Minister Ardwell, it has come to my attention that students studying in the U.S. territory, Tallahassee, etc., they are having issues receiving their study financing payments. Last week, I was told students were going to be facing evictions. Some could not pay for their classes. First, I'd like to know if this process is starting in a timely manner so that the payments can be made in time. And can you tell me what's the cause of the holdup? Because I believe this also happened last year. Do you know if the department is doing things in a timely manner so that this payment can be made on time to facilitate the students who are not at home?
Thank you. Thank you for your question, Bibi. I'm not aware of the situation. I do know that last year or the year before, there was a couple of similar situations where some students didn't do their part on time and so forth. But I'll have to ask the Minister of ECYS for an update on this. It hasn't come to our attention at the ministry as yet.
Thank you, Minister Edion. Thank you, Bibi. Lyndon, you have the floor.
Question to the Minister of Vromi. Minister of Vromi, can you clarify, can you tell us, has the garbage collectors satisfied? Recently you said that everything have been settled. Is it accurate that there is a strike with garbage workers?
Thank you for your question. According to me, there's no ongoing strike at the moment. So I'm not aware of any strike at the moment. Everything is flowing. as it should.
Thank you, Minister Duran. We now move on to the third and final round. Bibi, you have the floor.
Thank you, Rolika. As a follow-up, Minister Ardwell, can you, at the same time, ask the Minister of ECYS what's the hold-up on the payment for teachers that participated in the summer camp? I mean, this was brought to my attention since November. Teachers are waiting. They worked the entire summer, and to date, nobody can tell them when they will be paid. So I'd like if you can at least follow up on that for me. My third question is to the Minister of Romy and Prime Minister. It has been quite a number of months now. There's an investigation ongoing at NVGEBE. Can you tell us the status of that investigation? How far are we to the end? How far are we from the end, sorry? And can you tell us if the company or government has taken a definite decision on the CFO candidate?
Since the last press briefing where I gave an update, we have not met as a Council of Ministers on this with NVGEB, so I don't have an update on any of the questions that you asked at this time.
Thank you, Prime Minister Jacobs. Lyndon, you have the floor.
Question to the Prime Minister, and I wish that the other minister can also comment on it. The big story, the Juliana International Airport, Minister, as we had a walk-in last Wednesday, we have seen the progress and also disappointment, as it have been looming on the island, that monies have been increased for the reinforcement still around the airport, and we have seen the progress. We have saw men sanding and priming, and the people are asking why then the escalation of millions. Prime Minister, I don't know if you know about it, but what you can tell the people, and also to extension, the safety aspect of the workers at the airport. Let me just say what they say. They are working at 7:30, no break, lunch, half an hour, and 4 o'clock they finish. And in calculation, they are not following the boss, the Dutch guy. They also emphasize racism. So the period of working according to the work procedure here on the island, it have been violating at the airport. That's what it's saying. So you can verify.
Mr. Brown, I am not sure about the allegations you're making. I know for sure the Minister of TEAT, Acting Minister of TEAT, has updated in where we are in a sense of, as well as the tour that the media was on to explain the situation, that the government of St. Martin has some timelines that we want to achieve with the airport in terms of finalizing, I believe it's the departure hall, is it? By next year before the season starts, and that we're working diligently to remedy the delays that have been caused, including ensuring as much as possible that we take into consideration that it is an operating airport that the construction is taking place on. The minister we were at Parliament also last Friday, where the minister has until, I believe, the 16th to respond to several questions. So we're busy gathering those answers as we speak.
Thank you, Prime Minister Jacobs. Members of the media, this does bring us to the end of the question and answer session. Thank you so much for joining us. Honorable Ministers of the Council, members of the media, radio listeners, and online viewers, this brings us to the end of the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, December 21st, 2022. For rebroadcast, tune into St. Martin Gov Radio via 107.9 FM, Cell TV Plus, the official Facebook page of the Government of St. Martin, YouTube channel Government of St. Martin, and TV 15. For video on demand, log on to the Government of St. Martin's YouTube channel. On behalf of the Department of Communication and the Government of St. Martin, I'm Rolika Roach and wishing everyone happy holidays and a safe day further.